he had this contact then in Maida Vale, where, and don't forget, he was trained yogi, he was a trained psychic. He moved beyond psychic. In fact, he found psychic powers very difficult to live with because he could meet people and he knew too much about them. So his business was not certainly not unlocking his psychic powers. That was well done, long time before. It was controlling them and detaching from them. And this is where the yoga was, he's explained this to me, so valuable to him. And so, but the point I'm making, he wasn't subject to delusion or any kind of vague psychic impressions. He had a very direct contact. He heard the physical voice, you are to become, prepare yourself, you are to become the voice of interplanetary parliament. And that's where it all started. And he was chosen on one level purely because he was capable of attaining a very high level of meditation known as samadhi, and that was necessary for them to communicate. It's very interesting, and it's again another subject, and it's worth explaining though that with channeling, and there may be people here who do channeling, and I've done it myself, and it's something that you can do. But it's not just about your mediumistic ability, it's about what level you can attain. I couldn't, for example, possibly attain a high enough level within myself to channel an ascended master or a cosmic master. But I could perhaps channel somebody from another realm who'd be indulgent enough to give me a message, type of thing. But in the case of Dr. King, because he was trained as a yogi and could enter samadhi, he could be used, and that's why he was chosen by cosmic masters. And he used to appear at the Caxton Hall in London in public and publicly channel these messages. And the interesting thing is the messages he got. Now, I was very fortunate that I actually had permission from the directors of the Aetherius Society, of which I'm on, but I'm only one vote, to actually include some of these messages. In fact, there are messages in this book which have never been published before anywhere. And one of those, I'll give you just an example of. And this was very soon after his first contact. There's a little extract from the Master Aetherius. It's January the 29th, 1955. And it gives you a flavour of what they considered important and the approach that they were giving. Our belief in an absolute architect, an absolute creator, thinking into being certain laws which are immutable, these are the things we study first. Secondly, we apply these laws to our political system and our educational system. We do not try to get the laws to fit in with our preconceived ideas of what things should be. We make our systems fit the law. When you do that, you'll become luminous in the heavens. You will immediately go one step further upwards. You will immediately be showered by flying saucers and motherships, call them what you like, who will come from planets to walk your earth. But they will not come in great numbers like that until you've gone forward to make your present system subservient to the law of God. That's, if you like, a summary of their spiritual approach. They also, a little while later, in 1956, another little example here, dealt with the very issue of why it is that they haven't landed openly. And they use a word, terror, by the way, T-E-R-R-A, which is Earth. It's not, terror, as we understand it, T-E-R-R-O-I. It's T-E-R-R-A. Many brothers of terror, and this is being from Mars Sector 6, have requested from us a sign. Many signs have been given by people from other planets. Signs which should have proved to thinking terrestrial men beyond any doubt that we do exist, that we are indeed living entities, that we have indeed the interest of terror at heart. As numerous though as these signs have been, they still do not satisfy certain terrestrial intelligences. I ask my brothers from Terra, who require as a sign a landing of one of our craft in a prominent position, to give us a sign. So that's interesting. It's funny, there's a program you may have heard of called SETI, where they're sending out astronomical radio signals, extremely costly, in the hopes that somehow communication will be gained. I don't think the powers that be have yet decided what message they would give if they did meet an extraterrestrial, by the way. I don't think the different countries have agreed. I actually heard a broadcast on Newsnight a few years ago that if extraterrestrials tried to contact us, it would probably take at least 6 months, this was an official, I think from the UN, before they got a reply, because the different countries would have to agree it. That's what they're dealing with. And interestingly, a story came out, I think about a month ago, that the UN were going to appoint a Malaysian woman, scientist. I don't know whether you saw this story. It got denied quickly, but it came out, to formulate an approach to how we would respond to an extraterrestrial communication if we got one. Because the UN doesn't have a policy on this. And this is what we are embedded in. This is what they have to deal with. Not only lies, but bureaucracy as well. Interestingly, Dr. King could have solved that, because in these days, right in the 50s, he offered to act as a representative in interplanetary parliament for the United Nations. But he didn't get a reply. Strange. Another little example from the Master Aetherius. If you're men in power to have faith in God instead of a moth-eaten, wicked political system, and people didn't used to talk like that in the 50s, by the way, but that was what he said. If science were to have faith in metaphysics instead of the binding limitation of common mathematics, if an economic system were more interested in the world as a whole than it is in its own selfish interests, we could then come among you freely, easily. We could then give to you safely our secrets of interplanetary and interstellar travel. Yes, interstellar. We could give to you our secrets of physical transportation by thought from any position upon the surface of your planet to any other position upon the surface of your planet. We could allow you then to visit our planets, to travel for yourselves through the solar system in the vehicles you call flying saucers. We could safely make these revelations to you, but it is a big if, isn't it? It's a change they are waiting for. It's not just the technology, it's the motive. The motive has to change. Now, I like